Now, I don't envy the task that Ryan Coogler and his team had in making the sequel. Not only did they have to honour the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman in an emotionally satisfying way, but also continue the storylines for the characters from the previous movie. So does the movie tick all of these boxes? Stay tuned to find out. The plot picks up a year after the death of King T'Challa, as various countries are demanding that Wakanda share its vibranium with the rest of the world. From the get-go, the impact of T'Challa's passing is felt, as screenwriters Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Cole waste no time in establishing the impact of T'Challa's loss. The script also does a good job of establishing the threat that villain Namor and his people pose to the surface world. This is best shown in one of the movie's earlier scenes, when we see the CIA being attacked by Namor's people after they attempt to mine a vibranium deposit underwater. Where I think the story and script struggles, in many ways through no fault of its own, is in the wake of Chadwick Boseman's passing. The story confronts the significance of T'Challa's death, while having to show the impact of this loss to the Wakandan people, while also introducing a new villain in Namor. And in the defense of the filmmakers, they crafted the best story possible, given the unfortunate circumstances that they had to deal with. Ryan Coogler returns to the director's chair, and as far as pacing goes, he does a decent job of letting the story flow organically, moving from the loss of T'Challa to the threat that Namor poses to Wakanda. He allows scenes to develop, especially the ones involving the grief with T'Challa and Namor. Coogler allows the audience to experience how much of an effect not only T'Challa but Chadwick Boseman had on the cast members, and that definitely shows in the actors' performances. As for Namor's character, the script and Coogler's direction gives us a chance to understand the motivations of his actions and why he feels animosity for Wakanda. It makes Namor all the more empathetic as the movie's antagonist. Where Coogler struggles though is in the action department. Though the action comes with the standard Marvel stamp of approval in terms of spectacle and mass visual effects, it suffers greatly in the editing department. Coogler and his editors deploy frequent quick cuts between the actors whenever they fight one another, and it significantly undermines the obvious hard work that the actors and stunt team put into their choreography. The movie doesn't solve the MCU's running problem of a generic colour palette and poor colour grading. Once again, the movie has a bland look, with the exception of the scenes set in Wakanda, which offers the same vibrancy from the first movie. The scenes at night are terribly colour graded, as Coogler and his cinematographer opt for a dimly lit aesthetic, making it difficult to make out the actors and locations on display. The whole cast bring their A-game when it comes to their performances. Starting with Letitia Wright as Shuri, she does a great job of playing a character that is dealing with the loss of her brother. At the same time, she's able to convey the strength that her character goes through in order to take up the mantle of Black Panther. Angela Bassett is in top form as Queen Ramonda. Like Wright, her character is also dealing with the significance of losing a family member, in this case a son, as Bassett brings vulnerability to her performance. Bassett also sells the idea of her character being the Queen of Wakanda, particularly whenever she's confronted by threats towards her people. The standout performer though is Tenoch Huerta, apologies if I'm not pronouncing his name right, as the antagonist Namor. The combination of great writing, Huerta's performance and an excellent backstory allows us to gain insight into why Namor and his people have a bone to pick with the Wakandan people. Huerta brings pathos, levity and strength in his portrayal of this iconic Marvel character. The rest of the cast deliver solid performances, including the likes of Lupita Nyong'o, Danai Gurira and Winston Duke, who I instantly want to see more of every time his character appears on screen. The soundtrack, like the rest of the movie, is very much a mixed bag. While returning composer Ludwig Göransson retains many of the themes from the first movie, the rest of the score becomes fairly dull. Save for Namor's theme, which is brooding and commanding, many of the new themes fail to deliver on the unique soundscape that the first movie provided. The largely forgettable score from Göransson also extends to the movie's soundtrack. The songs from artists like Rihanna and Burna Boy don't deliver the same punch that the first Black Panther soundtrack provided. The filmmaking crew had to deal with so many moving parts on the sequel, which ultimately meant that this movie was never going to live up to the excellence of the first movie. Despite the movie underperforming in the action, cinematography and editing departments, where it shines for me, firstly, is how they deal with Chadwick Boseman's death. The story treats the subject matter with such care, as the movie provides a satisfying conclusion to T'Challa's storyline. Ryan Coogler once again provides assured direction, especially during the storylines involving T'Challa's character and Namor. The cast are excellent in their roles, including Letitia Wright as Shuri, who delivers nuance and vulnerability in her performance in the wake of her brother's death. Tenoch Huerta is the standout actor as Namor, as his performance, along with the script and direction, allows the audience to understand his character's pain and suffering. The score from Ludwig Göransson, though decent just through the reprisal of the previous movie's themes, underperforms when it comes to the new themes introduced in this movie. Likewise, the original songs from artists like Rihanna fail to live up to the high standards set by Kendrick Lamar and the artists from the first movie. Overall, I'm going to give Black Panther Wakanda Forever a 7 out of 10. So I now hand it over to you, as I want to find out your thoughts on Wakanda Forever, and do you think it's better or worse than the first Black Panther, as I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.